I think this is not only obviously the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career, but in a career that's filled with almost nothing but huge fights, this is the biggest fight of Canelo Alvarez's career.
A lot stronger, and I think he's going to have better endurance. Not being able to boil himself down like that, and even though it is a huge jump, I think we lose sight of the fact of how much he had to boil down and how gaunt he looked at 140.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
Well, you know how to box. When you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
As the highly anticipated clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford draws near, analyst Max Kellerman has shared his final thoughts on the matchup. Serving as part of Netflix's all-star commentary team for this blockbuster event, Kellerman offers his trademark mix of sharp insight and historical context, framing the fight as one of the most significant moments the sport has seen in years.
A great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. Kellerman hasn't minced words, declaring the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford clash to be the most watched championship fight the sport has seen in nearly half a century. He drew a parallel to the legendary Muhammad Ali-Leon Spinks rematch of 1978, which pulled in an astonishing 90 million viewers. According to Kellerman, the Netflix broadcast makes this more than just another high-profile bout. It marks a transformation in boxing's global reach and business model, with an audience expected to far surpass the traditional pay-per-view numbers.
Where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the
magnitude,
fight?
Yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko, those are big fights, but listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched championship fight in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in 78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, that's 20 million people. This is gonna do multiples of that. So when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
Promoter Dana White has confirmed that Max Kellerman will be returning to the commentary booth as part of Netflix's official broadcast team for the highly anticipated Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown on September 13th, 2025. Kellerman, a seasoned boxing voice with celebrated stints at ESPN and HBO, will join John Onik and Hall of Famer Andre Ward to call the action live from Allegiant Stadium. This marks a notable comeback for Kellerman to televise boxing, and at a recent press event, he described the fight as the perfect storm. He praised both athletes, noting that Canelo and Crawford stand among the very best pound-for-pound fighters of this generation. Kellerman added that Crawford now gets his vote for the top spot, while Canelo held that recognition for years, making their meeting all the more historic. He emphasized how rare it is for 2 athletes of such elite caliber to collide, pointing out that in boxing history, only about 25 to 30 fighters have ever been truly regarded as pound-for-pound number 1, and now, both men belong in that exclusive conversation.
Bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm, First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, We're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. None of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see. You know who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're gonna fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Timothy Bradley Jr. believes the opening round of Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford won't erupt in fireworks but will unfold more like a tactical chess match. He predicts both fighters will be cautious early, steering clear of reckless exchanges as they measure rhythm, timing, and range. Bradley notes that Crawford often starts deliberately in big fights, patiently setting traps and waiting for the right moment to strike. On the other side, Canelo is known for using the early frames to study his opponent before making adjustments. Bradley's outlook suggests fans should expect a measured first round, one focused on gathering intel, before the intensity builds in the middle and later stages.
Power as well. In the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. And the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. He usually takes off, just feels the power, cruises, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's going to be a real calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure, man. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? Let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next. During those periods right there, Crawford is one of the best at it, okay? Because he's smart, he's cerebral. Like a fighter to a fighter, we can feel when another fighter is like, oh, he's on my rhythm.
WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson remains steadfast in his prediction that Terence "Bud" Crawford will not only defeat Canelo Alvarez but might even stop him. Stevenson has consistently highlighted Crawford's advantages, his speed, sharp ring IQ, and ability to switch southpaw seamlessly as factors that tilt the fight in his favor. Using colorful language, Stevenson has even warned fans that Crawford could cook Canelo, suggesting the possibility of a dominant, one-sided showing. He first voiced this belief back in 2021 and has never wavered since, reiterating that Crawford's precision, adaptability, and overall skill set make him the logical favorite in such a high-stakes matchup.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
Boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so. No, I think that's possible. Like I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud can crack too. So
Crawford's unanimous decision victory over Israel Madrimov at 154 pounds was far more than just another belt on his resume. It reshaped his legacy. In his debut at junior middleweight, he captured the WBA title, officially becoming a 4-division world champion and joining the sport's most exclusive company. Even more impressive, Crawford now stands as the first male fighter of the 4-belt era to unify 2 separate divisions, super lightweight and welterweight, a feat that underscores his unmatched adaptability and long-term dominance. This milestone proved once again that Crawford's brilliance extends beyond a single weight class. Against Madrimov, a fighter known for physical strength and ruggedness, Crawford showcased his trademark patience, sharp timing, and tactical precision, dismantling the size advantage with superior ring IQ. Rather than simply surviving at a higher weight, Crawford thrived, demonstrating that his skill set remains lethal no matter how far he climbs up the scale. The win not only silenced doubts about his ability to handle naturally bigger opponents, but also solidified his reputation as one of the most versatile and dangerous fighters of his era.
August of 2024. He spent from 2018 until August of 2024, right? 6 years at 147. Okay? And he's had 8 fights at 147. All knockouts, and 1 fight at 154, which was a unanimous decision over Israel Madrimov. So you can make a case he's actually a welterweight jumping to 168, but he did make a pit stop at 54 and became a champion. So we have to acknowledge that because that goes into his accomplishment bags. That makes him a 4-division champion. So the concern is Terence Crawford jumping up in weight. This is a weight class that Canelo Alvarez has now been in since 2020. He's been at this weight for 5 years when he made his debut against Caleb Smith. But remind you, he fought against Danny Jacobs at 160 in 2019. Then in November of 2019, he jumped to 75 and fought Sergey Kovalev, then came back down to 68. So it's doable, right? But with that said, everybody's concerned with the weight and how Terence Crawford puts on the weight. So let's explain it. As you see the new photos that Terence Crawford has leaked, Terence Crawford has lean bulked. Okay, as you see here, Terence Crawford there, right? He has lean bulked. Okay, he put the bulk on in his weight, in his legs, and in his shoulders to be able to take the punch.
Trainer Dave Caldwell has praised Crawford's distinctive style, pointing to his ability to switch stances effortlessly and use precise footwork to manage distance. Caldwell argues that Crawford's movement is one of his most overlooked weapons, enabling him to create angles, frustrate opponents, and control the tempo of a fight. Looking ahead to the clash with a pressure-heavy fighter like Canelo, Caldwell believes these traits could be the deciding factor. He suggests that as long as Crawford stays mobile and avoids being cornered, he has the skill set to outmaneuver Canelo and steadily build a lead on the scorecards.
Fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch, he's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic, his punch picking is fantastic, he's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet have never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement of feet. His feet aren't the fastest. And he loads up. He loads up. And he don't really like boxing at a pace. So I kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he can manage moments, tough moments. When Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's going to know about it because Crawford's been hurt before. And Crawford gets hit. He does get hit. That's why he's exciting. But he does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on him. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb and Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off at an angle.
Veteran trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas has remarked that Crawford hasn't learned how to lose yet, a statement that underscores the fighter's unshakable mentality. Atlas points out that Crawford blends world-class physical attributes, speed, defense, and adaptability, with an iron will and refusal to accept defeat. It's this psychological edge, the absolute belief in victory even under pressure, that Atlas sees as Crawford's greatest weapon. Beyond his technical skill, Atlas believes Crawford's mental toughness allows him to raise his game in critical moments, making him not only talented but exceptionally dangerous.
For his composure going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo.
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford.
Yeah.
He's
the weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. Yeah. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. You think it'll be, oh my God, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. That ain't happening with Crawford. Yeah. He knows exactly what he's getting himself and why. He's the one looking for it. He don't have nobody with a gun behind him saying you got to go do this. He's the one. And look, it's a tremendous challenge because Canelo's a tremendous fighter and bigger and strong, and he can obviously he can punch and he can time you and he can do all the things that have made him so special. There's no doubt about it. But we're forgetting about those things I just talked about with Crawford just because he's smaller. We're forgetting that. He'll come up with a game plan where he won't let the other guy use his sight. Do you remember somebody named Manny Pacquiao when he was making his bones, the first time he hit the big stage? He got all these great fighters here. It was with a guy named Oscar De La Hoya, a hell of a fighter. And everyone said, oh, it'd be too small for him. And then I said, I gotta say, I got one right. I said, how about Manny's going to be too fast for him? Oh, Teddy, the guy's going. How about he's going to be too quick? How about he's going to be like a couple of those mosquitoes and gnats at a barbecue and disrupt the whole damn barbecue? How about that? Yeah. Well, how about Crawford disrupts the whole damn barbecue?
Discussions about Canelo Alvarez often swing to extremes, either downplaying his legacy by questioning the caliber of his opponents or praising his accomplishments without acknowledging the nuances. Critics argue that he has occasionally favored catchweights or safer stylistic matchups, while Canelo defends his resume by stressing that big fights can only happen if both sides are willing. He has noted that many challengers enter the ring merely trying to endure rather than truly competing, which, in his view, skews the perception of his dominance.
Fact. Canelo has fought the who's who. Sure, were all of them in their prime? No, but that's not his fault. He moved up in weight to fight some people. He sought out difficult opponents and matchups. You know, same way we're like, oh, Floyd didn't necessarily fight some of the best names in his resume at the best time in their career. Not his fault. Floyd went up and sought people out. So Canelo's sitting there like, yeah, I don't give a shit. And he's pretty much the only guy that can really say that, right?
I feel I'm the best, and that's it. I don't focus on if the people say or put me in the first position, I'm the best. I feel I'm the best. I'm doing because I love boxing.
I call Canelo out because, like I said, he the last great fighter amongst the era that surpassed us. This is my mega fight. This is my moment.
You didn't have much interest in this Crawford fight. You were saying that there wasn't much in it for you, and you pointed out that people will say that he was too small. What changed?
I think he's one of the best fighters for more fun. No, he accomplished a lot of things too. Mexican with the American fighter is always big.
When he fights you at Allegiant Stadium,
Canelo's like, I knew the money was crazy. That's why he's like, yeah, I knew that the Mexican fighter versus the American fighter. Canelo can draw Allegiant Stadium. That's what it is. I mean, yes, there's the element of greatness involved as well. But Canelo knew he was getting a bag for this. Canelo knew that Terence had to do all the difficult stuff. Let's be honest about it. This is why I favor Canelo in the fight.
For Max Kellerman, the upcoming showdown with Terence Crawford represents more than just another marquee fight. It's the defining moment of Canelo Alvarez's career. Kellerman acknowledges that Canelo has already compiled a Hall of Fame resume, winning titles across multiple divisions, but insists that none of those achievements match the weight of facing Crawford. In Crawford, he says, Canelo is confronted with an undefeated technician whose adaptability and skill embody the sport's ultimate test. According to Kellerman, the result will either elevate Canelo into the realm of untouchable legends or leave lingering doubts about his ability to conquer boxing's greatest challenge.
One thing about Canelo is he's been in a million big events. And I'm going to ask him about this just between you and me when he gets here. Don't tell him. But has he ever been in a bigger fight than this one? Is this everyone knows this is easily the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career. But has he ever been in a fight as big as Canelo Alvarez, who's been in a million huge fights? Floyd Mayweather, that was huge and that was Floyd, but he was young then. He was young and he wasn't going to be in front of, 50 million people worldwide. Because this ain't a pay-per-view. This is available to everybody. I think Triple G, those were big fights, but not like this.
So, what's your perspective on this clash? Is it truly the defining fight of this era, or just another mega event in a star-studded decade? And more importantly, who do you see walking away with the edge? Share your predictions in the comments below.